Vilmars.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome to this week's episode of LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh Morgan. I love hosting this show because you get to meet so many cool people who are doing so many cool things here in London. And my guest today probably shares that experience because through her job with the City of London, Janice Walter gets to work with community organizations that are making a difference, and the City of London gets behind them to support them. And this is that time of year where community organizations who could use a little boost, who have missions, who have programming that aligns with the strategic priorities of the City of London. Maybe there's a little bit of support that you can pick up through these fantastic funding programs that Janice is going to tell us about. Thank you for taking some time to be with us today.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
All right, so your title with City of London is?
City of London Senior Coordinator of Community Grants.
Community Grants. And so community grants, it's that time of year. Deadline is coming up on what date?
Monday, May 27th at 4:30 promptly.
Promptly, okay. So we do have to get on top of this right now. So this is great that you've been able to take the time to chat with us today. So for those people who have never heard about this Community Grants program, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. So right now we're open for the annual, so just for this year, 2024, Innovation, Capital, and Grassroots applications. So those are three separate applications.
So three different types of grants?
Yes, three different types of grants, all at the same time, all close at the same day. So innovation is for not-for-profit organizations who may have a new idea, a new way of doing things that help serve Londoners. And it could be a collaboration, it could be a transformation of service or new program. So they can apply for one time, so 12 months worth of funding. And with that also comes a piece where if you aren't a not-for-profit, you can still apply through innovation for that 12 months of funding if you have a not-for-profit who will host your application.
Oh, okay.
So that's a bit of a caveat for innovation. With Capital, again, that's a 12-month application funding process, and Capital is for capital structure renovations, construction, purchasing land, purchasing a building, renovating a building. Any of the renovations that are done need to demonstrate that they're improving like program and service delivery space.
Understood.
Right? And those two applications together, there's a pot of money that's $396,000 for the year. So there's no division between how much is spent on innovation, how much is spent on capital.
Okay.
It's just a competitive process based on the number of applications we have, the evaluation of the applications, etc. So that money gets divided out between those two kinds of programs. Typically, we find that in the end, when we do the allocations for innovation and capital, we're pretty close. You know, it might be 5 of one and 7 of another, you know, that sort of thing. So they kind of, you know, they're pretty close in the division of the dollar values. There's no maximum that you can request on that application process. And again, it's competitive. So we have some organizations that have received, you know, $10,000 or $22,000 or $60,000. So it just all depends what the application is about. Our new application process is called Grassroots. So the Grassroots program is strictly for organizations that are either a new not-for-profit within the last 3 years, or they're a group of 5 Londoners that have come together that are doing some kind of service to their community, that they're trying to get started potentially as a not-for-profit, and that they've been together for a year. So we like to try and support those people to grow, build some capacity, get going, because we find sometimes you need a little bit of money to get going, and then you can start applying to other sources for funding or get more donations, that sort of thing. So those are the two types of groups that can apply to Grassroots. If you're a group that isn't incorporated, you still do need a host to host a not-for-profit group to host you. And basically the host is going to support you by they will be the ones that kind of hold the money in the bank for you and help pay your bills and, you know, that sort of thing. But the funding strictly, you know, will go to the group who's applying and the programs that they're trying to initiate and get started. And in that funding pot is $100,000 for the year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then, so that happens each year. So next year at the same time, this will happen again for more innovation capital and Grassroots.
Wonderful.
So it happens every year for the next 4 years. The other difference in saying that is also that for Grassroots, the difference between innovation capital and Grassroots is innovation capital, like I mentioned, 12 months of funding. Grassroots, it's 12 months, but you can apply for the same program for the subsequent 3 years.
Okay.
That will help get you to our multi-year application process. Yeah, so that's kind of, we understand, again, groups are starting to get going. Even if you're a newly incorporated not-for-profit, you just need some help get going, and then hopefully you can build your capacity, and then by the time the next multi-year comes around in 2024, no, sorry, 2027.
Okay.
They can apply for the 2028 four-year program.
Awesome. So was this created out of, you know, you recognized a need that it wasn't being met by the program the way it was set up before?
Yeah, so we had, before we just had innovation and capital.
Right.
And we did notice that there were a lot of groups that were applying, either with a host, because they're not incorporated, or that we had seen some small groups that wanted to apply and couldn't because they weren't incorporated. So we did do a policy review, and we did a last year we did our policy review in 2023, and we had some also consultations and direction around how to remove barriers for groups, especially those groups that were equity denied groups. Right. You know, how do we increase the access and remove those barriers? And one of those barriers is that kind of getting started piece. So how do we get started? How do we get access to some funding, some supports, you know, that sort of thing. So that's definitely how that came about, how that got identified.
I'm excited that, well, you said a couple of things that I like already is policy review. I like, it doesn't sound very, I don't know, like all that interesting, but when you, often you hear about policy being changed and the speed of government is not so fast, but this you recognized it last year. So people who are interested in getting involved in like committees or reaching out to your counselor or talking about how maybe City of London programs aren't working for you perfectly. So you made that change over the course of a year.
Yeah, so the policy got approved last year.
Fantastic.
We spent a few years building to that, doing community consultations. We talked to a number of groups in the community. Right. And when that policy went forward last July, that was part of it. So we have a couple of things in our policy and in our application. Yes. We have specific questions about anti-racism, anti-oppression, diversity, inclusion, and equity, because we want to know if the group that is leading the work and doing the work, if the equity denied group is actually part of that, because that's important, that they need to be part of developing the program, offering the delivering the program. So we really do like to make sure that if it's a program that's in the serving an equity denied population, that they're engaged and they're part of it.
Thank you for, okay, so that, like, I think that hopefully for a lot of our viewers who are considering, you know, there are some barriers that people have to face when they are looking to get a program off the ground and bring that to community members who maybe have never had the opportunity to be served or be a part of a program that really serves their community. This is great news. So Okay, so great background, but we do have to take a break, and then I want to get into kind of the nuts and bolts of applying, and I think we're going to get to chat with friends from a group that have benefited from this funding already. Okay, so stay with us, Janice. Stay with us. Viewers are going to be back and chat more about community grants in the City of London after this.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Carbon monoxide is a deadly gas you can't see, smell, or taste.
Homes with fuel-burning appliances and/or attached garages must have working CO alarms installed outside all sleeping areas.
Don't let the silent killer get you. Install working CO alarms today.
Hi, I'm Ruth Skinner, and I'm with Forest City Gallery, and I'm this week's guest on Pollinating Purpose.
My name is Gracia Espinosa. I'm a journalist, and I was born in Madrid, Spain. Before coming here, I didn't have the opportunity to use the camera or to put the mics, because I always receive the same answer, don't touch it, you are not a professional. And I was in shock because I am a journalist, so why I cannot touch the camera, why I cannot edit a video? For me, this opportunity, this experience, this volunteer helped me to be the journalist that I wanted to be all my life. It's wonderful because they always want to help you and they always want to teach you, and that's for me the best part.
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh, having an awesome conversation about this great program, and this is the time. So pay attention, the deadline's coming up. If you are a community organization, so if you're a not-for-profit corporation, but even if you're not, even if you have a fantastic idea that you want to bring to your community, to our shared community, a program that is filling a need that we have in London, especially if you're filling a need for a group that really is underserved in London, this is the time because there is funding for you, and even new funding this year with the new Grassroots stream. Okay, so now obviously you see we're joined by another guest, Sarah from Muslim Wellness Network, who is a recent recipient of one of the grants from last year. Which one was it? Innovation?
The Innovation Grant, yeah.
Yeah, so 2023. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So now we've got somebody, yes, this money actually does get paid and it does support people in our community.
Absolutely.
So Sarah's here to chat with Janice as well as all of our viewers about a little bit about the process. So how does this all work? I've got a great idea. I've got a community organization that could really use some support from City of London. I think our values align. So how do I get in touch with you, and how does this process all work?
Yeah, so all the information, Bronagh, is on our website, cityoflondon.ca/community grants, and all the information is there, including currently right now there's a video that we recorded. The information, in-person information sessions are done, but the entire recording of the information session is there, and that walks you through everything, every step of all 3 applications.
Fantastic.
So you can watch that. I'm also booking right now. We had one last night. We have another one tonight. We have dates next week where organizations can book a one-to-one time with me, like a consultation.
Gotcha.
So, you know, you've started your application, you still have some questions, or you have an idea and you haven't put pen to paper yet, but you want to know, is this the right thing to apply for? What can I ask for? That sort of thing. So I'm booking half-hour sessions with people, but I am always available, phone, email. People have questions, they can contact me. I can provide support and guidance.
Yeah, it's so true, actually. And this is one of the things that we loved about applying for this grant is that it's like they've done everything at the City of London to lower the barriers to make it easier for people to actually get those grants. Because some of them can be quite daunting.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right?
Yes.
You read and you're reading through the jargon and you're, oh gosh, I don't know. Do we fit? Do we not fit? Should we apply? Do we need a lawyer? Do we need a grant writer?
Right.
Do we need resources?
Yes.
And what's really lovely about this grant is that you don't actually. Anyone can apply, and it's easy, and it's so empowering to be able to apply for something and get it.
Yes.
Sorry. To the
Pretty exciting.
Let me just gloat for a moment. It's a lovely feeling to be able to reach out as well and have the support to say, I'm not sure. I don't know how to word this. Is this okay? Is this not okay? And to get that support one-on-one, it really just kind of takes away all of that nervousness and all of those nerves out of the application process. So it's super process. Good job. You've done a very good job.
All right. So from grant writing time, or these kind of community conversations that you're having right now, when would an organization be expected to start working on their program?
Yeah, so the deadline is May 27th.
Right.
And at that point, when we close the application, we then have a review process. It pretty much takes us most of the month of June.
And how does that work? Can we tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have a community review panel.
Okay.
That panel is made up of community volunteers. All volunteers,
wow.
up to 11 individuals are on that panel. The panel consists of people who have expertise or knowledge that align with the strategic areas of focus that Council has in the strategic plan.
Okay.
So we have one of the strategic areas of focus is reconciliation, equity, accessibility. So we ensure that at least one, if not sometimes more, people on our panel have those areas of expertise. Climate change, we have people on the panel that can speak to that. So we ensure that we have people on the panel that can cover off those kind of areas. We also have someone who is another community funder. We have someone who is a financial expert.
Okay.
And we also have someone who is an outcome measurement expert. So they can talk about, the impacts that the finances will have, that sort of thing. And then we have one city staff person on the panel.
Gotcha.
So that review panel, like I said, is made up of volunteers. They serve 4 years, all 4 years reviewing the applications, which is nice, so they get to see the growth and change as well.
Oh, wonderful, yes.
And their identities are kept anonymous until the end of the 4 years.
Gotcha.
But it's all volunteer as well, so it's very wonderful that they give of their time. This is their way of serving their community as well. Once we've done those review sessions, we have meetings and discuss the scoring, and all the scoring, evaluation scoring criteria is on the website as well. So you can
that's
look,
helpful.
You can see exactly how the review panel is scoring your application.
Oh, wonderful.
And you can also look below. If you scroll down on the web page, you can see who's been funded previously as well.
Wonderful.
So that gives you a sense.
Right.
So the month of June we spend doing that. So the beginning of July I reach out and I contact all the organizations and discuss whether they're having their funds allocated or if their application wasn't successful. We have a bit of an appeal process that people can participate in. Once the decisions are final, we take the report to council. That gets passed, and then I start writing the grant agreement. So, putting the particulars into the agreement, and then the money flows. I try to get it all out in September.
Nice.
So that they then have 12 months for that, like yourself. Yeah. So 2023, the Muslim Wellness Center, Muslim Wellness Network
That's all right.
started their funding in September 2023, so they're kind of halfway through.
Right.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. We've been halfway through. So
And then in the process, I would assume there's reporting that happens
Yes.
regularly.
yeah, there's a couple of reports, I think, which is nice because it allows us to gauge. Have we maintained the integrity of our application? Like, are we do we have fidelity here? Did we actually do what we said we were going to do? So it's a good way to check on ourselves, but also to get some coaching and a bit of help. Be like, okay, this is where we're at, and they'll give us advice. They'll be like, well, actually, here's what we want you to see, which is just lovely. It's a very supportive,
right?
It's a very supportive process, and what I really appreciate about it is that it's all local. So actually, even in the process, you're getting to know people who are decision makers, and it's not behind a screen, right? You're not just kind of submitting to the void. Right. You do get to meet Janice and get to hang out with Janice and ask her questions. Be like, okay, Janice, how could we make this better? Or what would be more useful for you in terms of reporting? How can we adjust it so that we actually give you something that's beneficial, and then you give us more feedback that makes our program a little bit better.
Oh, you're just making me happy again. This is just like the policy thing, like it's very reactive.
And it's really, you know, we create in the grant agreement, we create metrics, right? And those metrics are kind of, you know, I explain to people, there are short statements about what impact will the funding, which is funding your program, how does that impact people in the community or the community.
Right.
So the metrics that we set out are very specific to demonstrating that, so that in 4 years' time or even in a year's time, when we take all those metrics and put them into a report for council, they can see how that $396,000 or, you know, this year coming, the $100,000 from Grassroots, they can see the impact that that has had in the community, right? So we don't just count metrics for the sake of counting metrics, but because we need to demonstrate, and it's a point of celebration as well.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, it's kind of like watching a tree grow, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get to see a small project that starts kind of as a seed, you get all the right conditions to allow it to grow, and then you get to watch over time how the project really creates an impact in its environment, and that's always lovely to see.
Well, you know what? I think our viewers are going to really want to see how this money has impacted your organization. So will you stay with us? Because I want you to talk a little bit more about Muslim Wellness Network and how the grant program has impacted you and enabled you to deliver services to the community. All right?
Perfect.
So stay with us. Stay with us. We're going to be chatting more with Sarah after the break.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
This week on Money Talks with Brian Seeley, we will be speaking with Tricia from Gallagher Insurance. We have a great returning guest, James Heskin, and we will also be featuring a wonderful business of the week, Popalock, featuring its owner, Vilmars.
Where's you?
Think before you say it. Don't wind up like me. Imprisoned by your tongue. Doing 1 to 3.
Is that with good behavior?
You got
Welcome back to LdnOnt TV. So exciting. It's that time of year that the City of London is not handing out, but looking for applications for grant money to support fantastic organizations in the community that are going to be doing so much good, just like Sarah's from Muslim Wellness Network. Tell us about Muslim Wellness Network.
Okay, so the Muslim Wellness Network is only 2 years old. It's a really young organization, but it's kind of filling a huge gap inside the Muslim community because it's targeted to developing youth. And we've found that a lot of our young people, they're craving just places to feel safe, to be able to develop, to make mistakes where we can kind of coach them and be like, oh, this is not a good idea. Maybe you should adjust this. But also to kind of to find ways to navigate all of these complex identities that they've got, right? So they are young Muslims. Many of them they're born here, or they are coming from abroad. We have a large refugee community as well. So you've got a kind of this mishmash of all these people, and navigating that can be sometimes a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And especially after COVID, I think there's a lot of social anxiety I found amongst youth. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I think we all had a little bit of social anxiety.
Right.
So what we've done at MWN, at the Muslim Wellness Network, is to develop a lot of programming that helps them help themselves.
Nice.
So a lot of mentorship, a lot of kind of self-development, creating those safe spaces and that positivity to help everybody, kind of be at their best, bring their A game to the table everywhere they go with a good confidence, but also with a spirit of being able to give back.
I love it.
Right? So it's not just about you, it's about what you're going to do with the tools that we give you, right? Like, let's play. Show me what you're going to do. So we have a very rah-rah spirit at Wellness. And with the grant, actually, it's been fantastic. We've piloted this, I want to call it, I'm biased, but I think it's a fantastic mentorship program. And what we do is we create little groups for different age groups. So we have like a 5 to 8, grades 5 to 8, grades 9 to 12, and each group is mentored by the previous group, right? So there's a nice little chain,
model, yeah.
right? It's a nice little chain that keeps going, and people are always giving. So you're always giving, but you're always receiving.
Yes.
Right? So you're always helping someone develop, but you're always learning as well. And we've got a large program that helps them deal with, issues of self-confidence, right? How do I speak properly in public? How do I present myself? How do I maintain this balance of being true to my values and negotiating a space that is maybe not always the same, right? So how do I accommodate in a nice way? How do I discuss issues that I disagree with in a nice way? How do we find points of disagreement and agree that we can disagree? How do we agree, right? So we do a lot of that, and we have it inside an Islamic ethos, obviously, because it's a mosque. So it's just lovely. I've not seen anything like it in a really long time, but that's what we've been able to do with this grant, actually. And we have programs, again, and we have a special program for women, actually, as well. So young women, 18 to 24, that's a new one that we're piloting. We'll be talking about that with you later. And it's been just fantastic. The feedback we've gotten is fantastic, creating a safe space for these young people to really kind of develop and own like their narrative and come out with a lot of confidence and a lot of positivity, ready to serve. And I think that's the part that I love the most.
Absolutely.
It's not selfish.
Yes.
It's you're ready to serve. So you're going to serve your community, the small community and the large community. So what are you bringing to the table? Where's your A game? Show me what you got.
Fantastic.
And that's the spirit we've kind of developed at Wellness. So it's always buzzing. It's a bit of a beehive. There's always lots of people, lots of energy. And it's fantastic. And having this grant has been absolutely fantastic in enabling a lot of these programs.
And I know from their mid-year report, so we're not even at the final 12 months, that their mid-year report, they're already serving well over 300 youth.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's buzzing. It's buzzing.
Yeah.
We have, there's always a lot of space issues where I was like, where do we put people? I'm like, hold on, let's open this closet. Here.
Nice. Okay, so we do know, basically, we got the basics of how to apply for these grants, and we know we have to get ourselves together because the deadline coming up on the 27th.
Yes.
For those people who are interested in getting involved with MWN, how do we get in touch with you?
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us at 990 Gainsborough at the back of the TMC building. We have it's a fantastic location just because the green is there, there's a lot of space, and there's always somebody coming. We have a website as well. You can find it. Just Google Muslim Wellness Network and you'll find us. And if you want to get involved, if you want to volunteer, if you're part of the Muslim community and you would like to be involved, the doors are always open. So our philosophy is, if there's not something here for you, we will find a way to make you we'll take your feedback. Essentially, we'll make a space for you. So it's not a mosque that's catered to just one kind of person. It really is a place where we want it's the mosque for everyone. You want to come, we're going to find a way to make it work.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
Well, you are two very enthusiastic, but two very busy humans.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for coming on the show today to chat about the grant program, to chat about all the fantastic work that you're doing as well,
Thank
Sarah.
you for having us.
All right, viewers, so I guess TV off, on the computer, and get your applications in and do some potential volunteering or getting involved with MWN.
Close enough.
And then tune in again next week for more LdnOnt TV here on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Bronagh. I hope you have a great week.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
Oh, hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
No. Could I get a burger with a side of fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration. A message from Mad Canada.
Hi everyone, my name's Emily Febri. I'm also known as Ranger M. I'm an environmental